All right, so it looks like Steve-O is pissed at me because I thought him deciding to get a boob job was desperate and depraved. But I mean, somebody needed to be honest with the guy, and that was my initial reaction, and I'm sure that was a lot of people's reaction. Like seeing Steve-O at 50 years old and 15 years sober with a dick tattoo on his forehead, and then hearing him announce he's going to get a boob job, I was like, how's this guy somehow more desperate and depraved than ever? Because also he still has a successful career. You know, it's not like he needs to do these really extreme stunts to try to stay relevant. Like between the podcast, the YouTube channel, touring, specials, merch, everything he sells, you know, he's making good money. But still he feels the need to do his most insane stunt yet, which I kind of respect a little bit just because he's sticking to his roots. You know, this is what he's known for. He's still committed to doing crazy shit. But I don't know if he's ever done anything this controversial somehow, and that's why he can't decide whether or not he should do it, because he's really worried about how people react to it, which is kind of funny that Steve-O is all concerned about who he's going to offend. I mean, I feel like stirring up controversy is just part of the stunt. Like, if this wasn't crazy, if it wasn't shocking, then nobody would care, it wouldn't get attention. And Steve-O knows the attention he'll get from this probably won't be very positive. You know, obviously there will be some people that just find it funny and be like, it's Steve-O, this is what he does. But I think most people will probably just be kind of cringing from it. But I don't think that's really what Steve-O should be worried about. I mean, of course, people are going to think that. That shouldn't be anything new for him. But I think what he should be more prepared for is the potential backlash from this. You know, the people who are going to get upset and offended by it. Because odds are that's going to happen, and it will help bring more attention to it. You know, the more polarizing this is, obviously the more attention will be brought to it. But I don't know if Steve-O is really ready for that, because he really cares what people think. And if people start calling him transphobic or something, I don't know if he'll handle that very well. And it seems like he didn't really start thinking about this until like the day before he was supposed to get the surgery, which apparently the anesthesiologist backed out at the last second. But he said the day before he talked to some trans person about it, and they brought up all these concerns that he had never even thought about. Like he mentioned one of the pranks he plans on doing once he gets the implants, and I would imagine trans people aren't going to be too happy about this. And Steve-O really seems to care about trans rights and issues and stuff, so if they try to cancel him and label him transphobic, I don't think they'll handle it very well.
Some of the hidden camera pranks where I find different ways to completely cover my face and head from the shoulders up. Mm-hmm. And from the shoulders down, I'm waxed, smooth, like airbrushed with zero tattoos. Rolled up. I've lost like almost 20 pounds to be as petite as I possibly can. And then like in these different like kind of high pressure situations, I like pull off the what's covering my head. And there's a high pressure reaction in each of these scenarios. That was a sensitive piece because, like the idea. I'm trying to word this correctly, but there's a sensitivity in the transgender community that what they're trying to do is trick people into. And like to put people in situations where you trick them into being gay. And
it's called the movie The Crying Game.
I didn't think of it like that.
And it's crazy because this could play out in so many different ways. Like I could also see conservatives canceling him and then maybe trans people defending him. So I kind of want this to happen just to see how things play out and see how people react to it. But I don't know if Steve-O will actually go through with it. I mean, I believe he'd get a boob job, but I just don't think he wants to hear what people have to say about it. Which he could just ignore. You know, he could just avoid Reddit and reading comments about himself, but he has trouble with that.
Because I've gone back and forth on it, and I reached out and said, you know, I feel scared because I'm a sensitive guy, and the idea of a lot of people saying really mean things about me scares me. And my friend said, the one friend said, what are you worried that they're gonna say? That you're an idiot? You know, like, what else is new?
Yeah.
You know, like, do you really think that it's going to be shock and outrage that Steve-O's gone and done something, like, incredibly stupid? Like, that's who you are.
It's your brand.
You do.
And it's funny he says that because he also says he's trying to push things too far, and he knows this is a nuclear move. And, I mean, a lot of the attention from this is going to come from the shock and outrage. You know, if people are just like, it's Steve-O, it's another one of his stunts, it's not that big of a deal, this is what he does, then the stunt isn't going to work as well because then people won't be talking about it. It's not going to catch people's attention. I mean, he kind of needs this to be polarizing and controversial because also if it's not, then people could just be like, he's doing all this for attention. Who cares? Let's not even give it to him. This story needs to turn into more than just Steve-O got a boob job. Like Steve-O, he talked about how he's trying to make a statement about body autonomy. And after he talked to that trans person, he realized it's actually really important for him to go through with this stunt.
Like, I was very, very clear that my intention's not to hurt anybody's feelings or be disrespectful on any level. But now, coming away from that conversation, part of me felt like I knew that I was, making a statement of body autonomy and with my heart in the right place, but I almost feel like it's actually important to do this.
And Steve-O was supposed to have it done by this episode, and Bert was all excited to be the first person to see him. Like, he skipped a 2 Bears episode just to do this podcast. But I guess Steve-O's anesthesiologist backed out at the last second because it's already become too controversial, apparently. And Steve-O claims this has rattled the plastic surgery community, which is kind of hard to believe that all of a sudden these people are going to be like, oh no, this is too far. I don't know if we should be doing this. I mean, compared to what some other people do to themselves, it's kind of ridiculous to draw the line here.
Oh, the anesthesiologist backed out. Now, to be clear too, it's nuclear on so many levels. The position we're in right now, all of this press, has completely rattled, I'm told, the entire plastic surgery community as a whole.
Oh, that fucking high level of ethics they have. Those statues, those pillars of our society who have been fucking up women's faces, legit.
And the legal representation has insisted now that I be drug tested. So that they have some basis in front of the medical board that I'm going into it of sound, mind, and body, or whatever. Just sound.
It would be easier if you just transitioned, because no one questions that.
Yeah.
They're like, no, his body, his choice.
Yeah, the reason why they wanted him because we framed it as a stunt, so that's why it was more of an issue.
But Steve-O said this all made him realize he wants to do it even more. Like, he really is committed to this. But I mean, it sounds like he goes back and forth on it every day, and he's trying to get everybody's opinion on it. And, he's talked about it quite a bit now publicly because he probably wants to get people's reaction and tell people beforehand, like, just so you know, I'm about to do something crazy. But I feel like the more he talks about it, the less it seems like it's really worth doing, because the bit would have worked much better if he never announced it, nobody knew about it, and then all of a sudden he just had boobs. People would be so confused. Like, some people would probably wonder if it's a stunt or if he's transitioning. But now, since he's already talked about it, people know it's a stunt, and he plans on having them removed in 4 or 5 months. So I don't know if it's really worth doing at this point. I don't know if it was ever really worth doing, especially if he's not committed to it. Like, if he's still worried about what people are going to think of him. Like, he was pretty upset about the video I made about it, which is understandable. But if you're going to be going through with this, you're going to be hearing much worse than that. Like, that video is probably nothing, and he's going to be hearing it from a ton of different people. But also, my video might have stung a little bit more because last year Steve-O admitted he watches my channel, and he gave me a shout out, which I appreciate and I thanked him for. But I can't let that influence who I talk about on my channel. And it's not personal, it's not just him. I've had other people give me shout outs, and I continue talking about them. So I try not to think about that too much, and this is a topic I would cover on my channel, and I'm sure most people are going to cover it if Steve-O actually goes through with it, and that's what Bert kind of tells him here. Like, first he brings up my channel because it sounds like Steve-O told him everything that happened, and Bert's like, see, that's what happens when you give a cat milk, they're always going to come back. I think implying that I'm a homeless cat, and then also I think he's trying to say that the reason I made the Steve-O video is because he gave me a shout out and I thought you'd do it again or something, or I was trying to get a reaction out of him. I don't know. But then I do get a reaction out of him and he's like, F that guy, if he's trying to hate on me. But then Bert is like, well, if you get the boob job, it's open season, which Steve-O's probably thinking, shit, yeah, that's true.
Weird part about giving a cat milk is the cat comes back. So when you go to Too Lazy to Try and you give them the milk, then they go, this is now a business model. If I make more fun of him and it's good, he'll share it and I'll get more views.
I can also say fuck that guy. You know, like if he's trying to bash me, like
this would have been fucking open season, like a tit job, but that's also the other part of it is that.
Yeah, so I wasn't trying to get a reaction out of him with that video, but it's pretty funny to beef with Steve-O over a boob job. Like, that's hilarious. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments, if you think he should go through with it, or if you think I'm going too hard on him. I don't know. And then make sure you also go check out my Patreon account. There's a ton of extra content on there. I've been talking a lot about Kill Tony and Tony's ego getting out of control and how crazy some of the shit has been on that show. Like, there's a lot going on, a lot of drama. So if you're interested in that, or if you want to hear about the time Tim Dillon humbled Whitney Cummings, or Tim Dillon versus Airbnb, or versus Anthony Jeselnik, or the degeneracy of Ari Shaffir, or the time Patton Oswalt took a picture of Dave Chappelle, or just a ton of other stuff, over 80 videos. There's a lot to go through. If you're interested, make sure you check it out. Put a link in the description.